Well, it's about that time. It is time for the Remax Magnolia Show, the real estate show, of course, with Michele Cummins and myself, Curtis Pope. And, of course, here we are, Michele. It's another Saturday morning and time for another show. I mean, you've been away for a couple weeks.
I have. It's the beginning of February. And, of course, I love my stat shows, so I'm here to do that. But our first segment, we have a very special guest. And I wanted to introduce her.
Yeah, I think we need one of your world-famous Michele Cummins introductions.
Okay, so I met...
Drum roll.
Yeah, drum roll, Tricia. Tricia Lehane is here from Scottsdale, Arizona. Now, why am I having a guest from Scottsdale, Arizona? Well,
because snowbirds, obviously. Snowbirds are such a big thing from this part of the country.
It's huge, isn't it? Tricia.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Afternoon, sorry. It is afternoon. You know, it's been a busy time. Busy brain disease, I call it.
I know you're mountain time, but you're really early in the afternoon. But I know it's Saturday, and I know you are going to be hustling and getting away and doing all the showings and presenting your listings that you have. But I wanted to tell our guests how I met you and who you are. So they have a background of who you are, so that when you tell us all about the great stuff about what's happening there, they have a frame of reference. So I met Tricia many years ago at a conference. And she is been so part of so many women in the industry and luxury. So she is a certified luxury marketing specialist, as I am. And I think that might have been she was presenting at one of the conferences for the Luxury Forum. And I believe that is where I first met her. But she's just been so amazing. All her volunteer hours and her heart towards global luxury and real estate and for Remax. She is a full-time realtor, of course, in the greater metro Phoenix, Scottsdale, Arizona, moving there from Kelowna, BC. And that's what connects her to us as well, because she's from Kelowna. So Tricia was born and raised in southeast Colorado on the farm, and her parents chose to move to Winnipeg, the cold Winnipeg, in the late 70s. Tricia grew up with two older brothers and with a working mom. Had the responsibility of being the head chef at lunch for upwards to 10 to 12 hungry folks. Younger, older men every day at lunch, all the time, early age of 10 years old. She has had this work ethic and business mind since she was little. So she knew from a very early age what hard work was. Tricia started in sales in mid-80s and moved her positions to be upper management in corporate Canada. Tricia lived and worked in every western province of Canada, even the Yukon Territory. Her favorite province was British Columbia, and she moved to Scottsdale, Arizona in 2005, where she started her real estate career. Tricia was awarded in the past 10 performance with foreign clients Global Realtor of the Year by her Scottsdale Association of Realtors, and continues to be very passionate about global real estate. Tricia served on the global committee for the Canadian Real Estate Association with a 2-year appointment. We met in Tricia's city, Scottsdale, Arizona, and it was that one, Tricia, for the luxury collection. Yeah, that's where it was. And that was in 2017. Yeah. And right. So welcome to our show. I know you have a lot to share, and there's a lot, like Curtis, you were saying, snowbirds heading down to Arizona.
That's right.
Yeah. So I'm thinking of asking you some questions, but first off, tell us about the major differences of purchasing a home in Arizona versus, like, in the U.S. versus Canada.
Okay. So the biggest thing, Michele, is the financing. So our financing, of course, we have FHA, which is guaranteed government lending. And our closing time, generally to get financing, is in anywhere from 28 to 35 days. I have closed some transactions in 21 days, but our standard is more like a minimum of 28 days. And I know for Canadian financing, you can get it almost in a week type thing.
It's true.
Right. And then here we also have title companies versus lawyers. And the title companies here basically do everything that a lawyer does in Canada. They do research the title, the homeowners association. They do make sure there aren't any liens and encumbrances against the property, and they prepare the documents for closing after that they actually send to the county for filing. So they basically do everything that a lawyer does in Canada. And something else that we have here, which Canada does not, is called a home warranty. Some Canadians have got it mixed up. They thought it was in lieu of insurance, but it's basically in addition to insurance. And it's a minimal cost of about depending on the size of the home, $500 to $1,200, and it will cover maintenance on roofs as well as air conditioners, appliances. And I always recommend that to my clients, especially for the first year that they're in their home.
Gosh, it sounds like a great deal. It sounds like very well worth it. That's a great idea. It's almost like a new home builder's warranty up here.
And you pay a service fee of $85 for them to come out and make repairs. They don't replace an air conditioner that's 25 years old.
Understandable.
But it's a great tool to have in your toolbox.
Tricia, do you know how much Canadians have to have down versus maybe a U.S. citizen?
Yes, it starts at about 5%. I've worked very closely with RBC Bank. As a matter of fact, I was their U.S. Realtor on a tour they did through British Columbia in 2019 before COVID hit. We hit 8 cities in 5 days, 8 presentations. So 5% down, and they do a great job for us.
I'm surprised 5% down for a foreign buyer. That's great. What's the foreign buyer tax there? Is there?
Well, no, there isn't. What we do have here is a FIRPTA tax, which is a foreign investment real estate property tax. And it's really a withholding instead of an actual tax. So any property under $300,000, there is not the withholding. It's up to the sellers to take the responsibility to submit that documentation in Canada. But if they sell their property after over $300,000, there is a withholding tax of 15%. But of course, we have resources here that we have our CPAs do the tax withholding and work directly with the title company before the monies are sent to the IRS. So it's flagged and they know it's there. So it's in most situations, if people keep good documentation of their expenses, it's basically like a capital gains tax. So it's 15% and then a very small state tax.
That's not bad at all. Is that much different from other states, or is it an overall federal U.S.?
It's an overall federal withholding. But like I said, it's not a tax, and that's why it's so critically important, Michele, for people to work with realtors that have, number one, the experience and the resources to work with those Canadian sellers.
Absolutely.
And we don't have a GST or anything like that. Hawaii and California also both have a very high tax. And it's not just a withholding tax. It is a tax that you pay above and beyond any withholding tax on the federal level.
So in compared to Arizona?
Yes.
So that's definitely a benefit to choose Arizona over some other snowbird destinations. What else do you think makes Arizona stand out, and particularly your area?
Well, of course, BC loves Arizona. It's just over a 2-hour flight direct from Vancouver to the Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. If people want to save a little bit of money, they could drive down to Bellingham and fly Allegiant to the greater Metro Phoenix area. And but we have direct nonstop flights 3 times a week in the winter months.
Now,
direct from Vancouver.
Wanted to point point out escrow versus maybe the subject removal phase that we have here in Canada. So we put an offer together, it gets accepted by all parties, and then there's usually 7 to 10 business days of buyer's due diligence where they have subjects or conditions where mostly it's to all their benefit, and then they choose to remove it after that 7 to 10 days if they want to move forward with the purchase. They put down their deposit at that time and it's firm. Now no parties can change their minds. And then we wait to completion day, and completion day is really whatever a seller and buyer agree upon. Now down there's something called escrow, and can you tell us the differences?
Yes. Now, escrow is what happens at the title company. So within, when we have our offer accepted, the monies are deposited with the escrow company. And that's when they start the process to ensure there aren't any liens and encumbrances. They research the homeowners association. They prepare all of the documentation that a lawyer does in Canada. So what we have within the 10 days, they also order a title confirmation. The thing we have here that within 10 days is the home inspection. And honestly, in 2008 to 11, the market was so hot here with so many Canadians buying homes at $60,000 that you can't touch today. They would be waiving home inspections, but I don't ever recommend that. So we have 10 days to do the home and termite inspection and ask for any repairs during that time frame. And then financing is a total separate program.
And there are monies due at the time of writing the offer. The buyer puts in with the offer, correct? That is not the whole deposit after the 10 days.
It's earnest monies, and the earnest monies, it goes to the title company, and then within that timeline of the 10 days of the home inspection, if there's any issues, they get their full earnest monies back. And of course, it depends on the price of the property.
I agree with the earnest monies. I feel like Canada should implement that with our offers. It makes for more serious buyers who aren't playing around, and they are really committed when they go in to make the offer. I really strongly believe that's a great thing.
Well, and Michelle, something that's really important is people are pre-qualified. Or they provide proof of funds. I can't submit an offer without either.
That as well.
And then, of course, the higher the earnest money shows stronger commitment on behalf of the buyer to the seller.
Those would be two great things to implement here. I'm going to work on that.
Absolutely. So a couple of other things that I'd like to share with you. Our pricing is very attractive. Our average median price throughout the valley is just over $500,000, $510,000.
I love that you're in the valley and we're in the valley. We're all in valleys.
Yes, we are. And so you can, and the big thing is we are the 5th largest city in the United States. Maricopa County has been the fastest growing county in the United States probably for the last 12 to 14 years. And it will continue to be. In the past year, we've had a $42 billion investment in a Taiwanese semiconductor plant, and another $40 billion has been announced to support that industry. So for investment purposes, it's a great place to consider for investment opportunities as well as personal use.
So
and I have a lot of clients from Canada that use it as an investment property as well as their personal use.
I can see that. So what's the economic outlook then for 2024 for the future here, going with that?
Absolutely fabulous. Just because we have so much growth. I mean, people that bought homes 20 or 30 years ago, they don't even hardly recognize the valley if they haven't been back. So we continue to just grow in leaps and bounds.
I wish we had more time to talk more, Tricia, with you.
Oh, I do too.
Time
Let's
goes by so
again.
fast. Is there anything else you wanted to leave our guests, our listeners with? Any tips or advice?
make sure when you find a realtor, pick me, but that they have experience in working with foreign nationals. That's why I was so proud to serve on the Canadian Real Estate Association Global Committee to help, realtors understand when they send a referral out of Canada that they have a trusted source on the other end, because it's your reputation on the line.
And you are that. You are the professional, and you are a go-to. And thank you so much for all your help
Thank you, Michele.
and your
I
advice.
appreciate you.
Oh, I look forward to seeing you this year at this year's Luxury Forum in Napa,
perfect.
I believe it is.
Very cool. All right, Michele, if people want more information about what you do as a realtor and your listings and things like that, where do they got to go?
Actually, we're going to Lake Tahoe.
Going to Lake Tahoe.
My sister Gina lives there.
Oh,
That's where it's at
It
this
is
year.
Tahoe. It is Lake Tahoe.
Yes. Remax, MagnoliaRealty.com.
We're back with more right after this.